We're gonna talk about algae/plants today. So basically, algae used to actually live in water, but then they switched to living on land, and also they can be either unicellular or multicellular. And then to get used to living on land, they had to find a way to protect themselves from drying out and have a system where they can transport like water and transport it to like all their cells, and then find some strong structures to make sure they stay upright, so they can move around for photosynthesis. And this all did not even happen at once as well. And then green algae and plants, they actually alternate between two stages. Haploid stage, where they produce spores they reproduce and then they release spores onto water for them to develop, and then in the diploid stage they produce spores but hold on to themselves so they don't dry out. And then bryophytes. So bryophytes are basically very early plants. They didn't have vascular phloem tissues to transport food and water throughout their whole body. So they had to rely on osmosis for like max nutrient deficient and like oxygen stuff, water, and yeah. They also can't travel very far, meaning they have to be near water in order to like grow and like get stuff. They also had no roots to like attach themselves to the ground and stay upright, so they have to rely on rhizoid for that to happen. And then some plants actually evolved to have vascular tissues, but green and vascular tissues, as we know, is to like transfer food and water as they move to living on land. But algae didn't need that because like they lived in water, so they already can absorb it. And then now some seedless vascular plants were actually able to form forests because they already have developing vascular tissues, so they were able to grow like very tall. And they also reproduce through haploid spores and not seeds. So basically, they were able to grow very tall and bright, and then those forests, they reproduce through haploid spores and not seeds. Okay, so now when plants got vascular tissue, they were able to transport water and nutrients throughout plants, right? But then that's when roots came in. So then roots, they basically help plant stuck to ground and absorb water and minerals, and also they transport minerals through xylem tissue. And there were leaves that evolved from the xylem tissue, meaning they were more surface area. So then there was better gas exchange and photosynthesis. So basically, so then when plants got vascular tissues, they were able to transport water and flow water minerals throughout their entire body, right? And then that's when roots evolved, and then roots like help keep plants like stuck to ground and also absorb water and minerals. And then leaves evolved from xylem tissue, so there's more surface area and better gas exchange. So basically, when plants got vascular tissue, they were able to like transport food and water throughout their entire thing, right? And then roots evolved so they could transport water and minerals through like the xylem tissue. And then when xylem tissue came with leaves for more surface area, meaning more photosynthesis. So now seeds. So basically, the benefits of seed is that now, because before to reproduce their spores, it needed water. Now it doesn't need water. And it also provides protection for the seed to not dry out and like protect it from UV damage. And it also stores the food for the plant to grow before it starts photosynthesis. And now they can better survive in various environments and also remain inactive. So basically, before it needed water to reproduce their spores, but now it doesn't. It can remain inactive. It can protect itself from like UV damage, and then survive in like more various environments. And it stores food for the plant to grow before it starts photosynthesis, and it can remain inactive. So basically, it can store food to remain inactive. It can remain inactive, store food before it starts photosynthesis. Before it needs water to reproduce through spores, now it doesn't. Protect itself, have protection so it can protect itself from UV damage. And also can better survive in various environments. So, yeah, it can better survive in various environments, remain inactive, doesn't need water anymore to reproduce her spores, stores food before starting photosynthesis, and yeah. So basically, it can remain inactive, better survive in various environments, store food before it starts photosynthesis, um, um, sorry, doesn't need water to reproduce or haploid spores, and then survive in various environments, and UV damage as well. So now for seeds. So gymnosperms are basically known as naked seeds, meaning they're seeds that are not covered inside a fruit. And they're also found on surfaces of cones. And they're also mostly evergreen and thus does photosynthesis for only once a year. So basically gymnosperms are naked seeds that are found on the surface of a cone and are not covered inside a fruit and have leaves, so they do photosynthesis. And then angiosperms, they reproduce. Most of them are flowers, so they reproduce through flowers. And then they also they are covered inside a fruit, and yeah. So basically, gymnosperms are seeds that are not covered inside a fruit, and are found on surface of cone, and they reproduce, and they have leaves, so they do photosynthesis. While angiosperms are mostly flower. Oh yeah, gymnosperms reproduce through spores. Never mind. Yeah, and then angiosperms are seeds covered inside a fruit and reproduce through flowers because they're mostly flowers. And lastly, yeah, that's it. So yeah, and then the benefits of seeds one more time is it doesn't need water anymore to reproduce their haploid spores, can remain inactive, protect themselves from UV damage, survive in more various environments, and then stores food before it starts photosynthesis. And here, when plants evolved to have vascular tissues, they were able to transport water and food throughout their body, and when roots evolved, they could absorb water and minerals through xylem tissue, and xylem tissue came with leaves for more surface area, more photosynthesis. And yeah, that's it. Any questions, comment down below. I'll be sure to answer them. And in the meanwhile, goodbye.